we're going to go show the engine, start with the most important part. Although everything's important. These tires are like $500 per tire. And they're really important. But as we go, here's the storage, some stuff I keep, air conditioning. This is a R134A. We're getting ready to do some tour in August. It's going to be pretty hot, but we're continually adding fluids. But this is a storage spot for a lot of our fluids we have here. It's a Detroit diesel, a 2-stroke, and it's just been overhauled. It's a turbocharger right here. Might as well check the oil since we're here. Yeah, it looks pretty clean, huh? Still transparent.
Nice. We had a serious engine breakdown on our last tour. Was it the tour before last, which was last year? And so we had this installed at the beginning of this year. Here's the coolant reservoir. When you add coolant, it goes up there, and this is the sight glass, which is kind of hard to see through, so it's kind of useless, I think.
Me too. So I just top it off, fill it up on the side. What's your head here?
We were having before we had the engine, the rebuild engine put in.
This is our radiator.
Losing a lot of coolant. We couldn't figure out what was going on. We had to add it up here. You can still see the remnants, all this black soot. There was the coolant and the motor oil were mixing together. That was the first sign.
We had a cracked head or a blown head gasket, so we were pushing exhaust into the water jacket, and the water jacket the water just turned black, sooty black, and that's still, yeah, you can still see some of the black.
And then we stopped in Fort Stockton, Texas, and we got coolant in our motor oil, and that's when we finally shut it down and gave up and got it towed from there. But yeah, you can still see the leftovers from there. There's our backup camera.
Meaning for backing up, as opposed to a backup camera when your first one breaks.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
backup. For backing up.
A backing up camera.
Yeah. So just recently, this hose broke, or this clamp. It's a brand new clamp, and there's some type of a hook to hold it, and it broke, and we started leaking coolant. And luckily, we caught it on time and was able to fix it. But we're gonna go ahead and start it.
Just a little bit of transmission fluid. Last year we had a lot of motor oil. It would leak. When we stopped, we'd see a little pool of motor oil a couple places, and then transmission fluid in a couple places. Before this tour started, we had an O-ring on the transmission filter assembly replaced. And then when we left, about 70 miles outside of Philly, we blew another O-ring.
My thumb like that one time.
But yeah,
put it back on the front controls.
Oh yeah, front start.
This one?
There we go.
Okay.
You can still see the previous owners. Ambassador Limousine. There were a bunch of stickers all over the bus. We scraped them off, but then you still see it.
Just touching the bus, just a simple, or even just bump into it, you get dirty.
Here's where we got tagged. Somebody spray painted on it, so we sanded it. That's the only place you can't see the old letters. Here's the luggage bays, store our equipment. Merch usually goes up here. Production equipment goes back here. I think this is Ricky's drum bay. And on the opposite side, guitars in here, amps over in the back bay on the other side. And up here is where my stuff goes, accordion, my pedal board. There's a battery charger, keyboard stand, some extra fluids, and there's a toolbox. I think these are posters. Our old bus had a grease tank in this bay, like a vegetable oil fuel tank, and we took that out toward the end of that bus, and we never installed it into this one. So we had a whole extra bay of storage compared to what we were accustomed to with the previous bus. So that's where we put the production. We bring our own mixing board out, and lights, and backdrop, and different production elements that our sound engineers generally responsible for. So we have room for all that now that we don't have to run the vegetable oil. Here's the battery bank.
Battery bank. We keep boards if we need to drive up on our tires. If it's too low and hit the concrete here, we're fine here, but we'll drive up on boards to get the bus a couple inches higher so the door won't hit the concrete.
We need the smoke. The fire extinguisher was.
And we do have a spare belt. I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was hoping we had one. So because of this interview, we found the spare belt.
We had some trouble here. Was there corrosion there? I think you cleaned that off last tour, didn't you?
Yeah.
And was it this bus that somebody told us was on fire?
Yeah. When it was just a diesel
We
vapor.
had, we had a fuel injector tip break off, and there was
So much vapor coming out
diesel
of the
just
back
spraying in, and it looked like it was on
Fire
fire.
department came.
Yeah.
Here's our fuel tank here. It was about 150 gallons.
We got emergency. There's triangles. I don't think we have flares like we should. We have no chains for our tires. We're not totally prepared for certain problems that might arise.
Yeah, but we're 90% prepared.
I'll show you the other side if you like. Oh, I should get a I don't know if it'll open. This is one of my favorite new components. This is our inverter. We have an inverter that powers the interior electrical system, 110 volt. But this is a separate inverter that we have. It's dedicated. I can't open it. Okay, it's dedicated to deep cycle tube. There's a battery bank here. I think there's 6 volt batteries. I think they're golf cart batteries wired in series to make a 12 volt power source. That this inverter turns that 12 volt power into 110 volt power. So the idea with this is we have a totally separate backup power bank. So when we shut down, if we don't have the ability to plug into there they are. They're kind of getting old. They don't hold a charge as well as they used to. But it's really nice because when we shut down, even if we don't have a place to plug in, we can still have, power our lights and fans if it's hot without running the bus batteries on the other side down. This was something my wife was really, this was important to her, that when we shut down and she's got the kids in the bunk trying to put them to bed while we're playing, sometimes if she's out with us, she can still turn the lights on, sound machine. We can charge our devices and that kind of thing. But it's actually a really nice inverter. I'll spare you the details. It works better than the other one. The power is nice and clean, and it's streamlined. We can charge the bus batteries while we're powering the inside. But by far, most of the work that we've done to the bus has been in here. The other one broke down. Our bus number 2 broke down in the mountains of British Columbia, Kamloops in Canada. And it was so far away that there was no going back. When we pulled away from that, I think we all knew we were never going to see it again. We got this one, just like the previous ones we've gotten. It had all the, something like 47 passenger seats. It had overhead racks that were mostly made of metal and open. And we just gutted everything, except for the back seats, that there's a little bench of 3 seats in the back that we didn't bother taking out. But everything else, we took it out, down to the floor, and even further out to the wall. We tried to really maximize it. This bus is also 6 inches wider than the previous one, so we have a little bit more space, especially when you're back in the bunk area. Every inch counts, and we took it tighter up against the wall, so just did a more thorough stripping out of the old stuff. But it's very much still in progress. You could, I don't know if I should draw attention to the ugly things, the unfinished things, but a lot of the ceiling trim isn't finished, not even sanded or finished painted. We still have to finish up this cooler area, so don't pay any attention to that. This in here is mostly Mike and me, I'd say. The other guys had some input. We tried to include everybody who cared to be involved, but some guys just are less interested in this kind of stuff. There's a few things that we hired out, like these cushions. We just found a professional upholsterer, and we brought them the cushions, which were mostly just trash picked cushions, and you know, and we cut them to the shape, and then we brought them, and they brought them the material, and they made it look like this with the really nice, you know, the little, I don't know what you call this, stitching the trim here, piping, yeah. And then our friend named Tiffany just brought us these curtains a couple days ago, and we have been putting them up. Just finished today, actually, for this, so that we'd have them
Tiffany
ready.
also made the curtains for our bunks.
Yeah, these are really well done back here. I think these ones she made by hand and custom fit them to every bunk, and so we can all have some privacy. They're kind of blackout curtains, so there's like 2 layers there. And when you close that curtain, it not only does it regulate the to keep some of the sound out and regulate the temperature, but no light really gets in through here, a little bit through the cracks. But it was really, really kind of her to do that. But otherwise, I'd say Mike and I have been doing the interior stuff. Cabinets, Mike did the countertop and the tiles. He's doing this.
We're just about done the finishes in the front lounge. Aaron mentioned the ceiling is a big one. Really, there's the cooler countertop that needs to go in, and we're just figuring out how to get it so where we can access the cooler in a way that's easy. And yeah, that's one challenge. Probably put a television up there on that wall. And everything else is pretty done. I mean, we've got the seating and the table. Our old member of the band, Chris Kleinberg, made the table. Yeah, we got all the paneling up. We got all the cabinets are made, painted, put up. The bunk world is all complete with HVAC getting into each bed.
We got a new engine. We got new front running steer tires. Yeah, I think all these assets. That's nice. You don't realize that how much of stuff we actually have now until you start talking about it.
It's a great space. We love having our own bus. It's very stressful at times with mechanical problems. I try not to forget how much comfort we get to enjoy. It's just been a really fun project to work on. Very, very, very custom. Everything is just the right shape to fit the curvature of the ceiling, and Aaron and I really poured over how much space we were gonna leave for the aisle. Doing this nice curve to have a thicker seating area. We really pushed ourselves.
About everything.
We did. We really
argued about most things.
Yeah, it was be 2 inches, so we would be battling over. But
Probably like writing music, huh?
Yeah, we're used to this kind of thing,
The floors are engineered hardwood. They're not solid hardwood, so they're thinner, a little bit more headroom. They're lighter, and they're more stable.
For water too, they're better for water.
I think they were the right choice. Our last buses had hardwood, which started to space out with the fluctuations in
solid, and this is engineered, which means that you got
it's basically plywood
with a veneer top
hardwood.
Hardwood. So
and here's the trash. You got the landfill, and this is supposed to be for recycling, but Jack just puts them both in the same bins. In here, this is generally where we put my kids' stuff when they come, but it's kind of underutilized space when my family's not out. There's some propane down there, but the stove isn't really complete either. There's no propane hooked up to it. I haven't been able to find a fitting that hooks up this kind of stove to the small camping style, and I don't want to have a great big propane tank, so that's something that's not complete yet. But we have a camping propane stove under here I take out and just cook on that. We have some, canned soups and nuts and seeds and peanut butter and fruit and vegetables. We don't have a refrigerator in this one. We use the cooler. It's not super well organized or anything. We didn't really clean up a whole lot. There's some spices and bowls and whatnot. This is how it is. Some more storage under here for the propane stove. Fluids under here and under where Jack is. And we've been trying to organize to get the tools and the materials all sorted out. It was pretty chaotic for most of our life having a bus. It was just tools were everywhere and materials. So we have, you know, separate bins. If you want some electrical, you know, you've got to, oh no, that's not electrical. But you get the point, you know. There's a separate bin for the different kinds of materials, and then we're getting there.
But owning the bus is a whole new aspect of being in a band. The bus, so much we have to learn, like the DOD rules, the weight of the bus, how high we're 12 foot high, so we got to be careful going under bridges. There's so much that go into the bus, and how much more we learn and learn and learn. And without this bus, we wouldn't be learning all these things. So it's really a great experience. It's sometimes a terrible experience though when you break down, but learning is going on. You know, maybe you think it's a bad experience, but the end result, it was a good experience. Let's take you over to the driver's seat here. This is where the magic actually happens, right? Yeah, hours and hours. What I do when I first sit here, in my mind, I have a theory of 15 events take place before the accident, and you could break that chain of events right away. Little things, like say something happened the night before or 2 days before, you got in a fight with the wife or your teenage kids or something, and that's on your mind, or pretty soon somebody has to go to the bathroom and we have to pull over, or there's a detour. So that can be the chain of events. So I always tell myself, okay, this is the chain of events that's going to cause the accident. So let's stop the chain of events right now. And I drive with 2 GPSs myself. I have the iPhone GPS and then the old style GPS. This will route you around traffic, and this tends to just run you the closest way. We have a little backup camera now. I want to show you that. It's kind of handy now. It's even color. And see that's actually about 5 or 6 feet. It looks like we're real close, but that's about a 5 or 6 feet distance between the car behind us. It gets dirty though and gets sooty. We have to get back there and clean up the lens off the camera every couple days, especially if it's raining or something. It's not even effective at all. And I'm going to go ahead and start it. You can hardly even hear it start because the engine's way in the back. So, I mean, when you're sitting this far forward, everything's so smooth. And then we have, of course, we watch our air pressure, and then we got coolant temperature, our voltage, fuel, and oil pressure.
Oh yeah. Hold on, Mr. Mayor. Hold on. Yeah. We're gonna show you a little bit of how we live here on the bus. But anyway, I'll call you back for that key to the city appointment. Thank you. So yeah, this is one example of how to outfit a bunk. I got a couple, simple. It's all very cheap. Some bungee cords, some wooden crates from a hardware store, some lights to make it feel like my college dorm 20 years ago. A couple little things. This was actually like a I don't even want to say, it was just something that was on clearance at Target that wasn't for this purpose, but yeah, just this is, you want to make it feel like home. You have your friends that make it feel like home and all the work that they've done, but you have your little nook that you want to feel comfortable and as you sleep, and try to kind of re-energize for your time out on just on the road in general, and for performing. So
I made my bed today. That's what's special about it.
One thing, this time around, you might notice that there's some variation between the front bunks and the back. Up front, there's only 2 bunks high. You can see this one, the top bunk. This is the lower bunk, and below it is not actually a bunk. This is for storage. And as you come, and it's the same on the reverse side, just 2 bunks and storage below. So these bunks are a little bit larger than the ones in the back, because back here we fit 3 bunks vertically. And that's so the last bus had just 8. There was 2 in the front and 2 in the back, and no storage. They were very tall. So it was kind of luxurious, but also kind of wasted space. So here we have more efficient use of the space, a little bit less room up front, and quite a bit less room in the back because there's 3 high. But the upshot of that is we have 10 bunks so that family can come out, or we can bring guests. This one we call the junk bunk because we end up using it, well, not really for junk, for our bags. There's a keyboard there. Extra storage, there's some mechanical supplies back there, so we decided this time to prioritize storage and make sure that we could keep the space clear. Now this isn't the best example of a clear space, but this is our back lounge, where right now it's got a lot of merch in here, but the fact that there's even a space to sit here is an improvement from before. And sometimes if we're on a shorter tour or toward the end of the tour, this will be totally cleared out. So we have an entire back lounge area where, you know, if you want to be alone, or some of the guys will come back here to play video games, or, you know, be on their computers or read or whatever. So yeah, we tried to prioritize the storage space more so. We have this for either merch or personal bags. Up here, the same. We don't have a real system worked out yet for it. It's kind of like every tour that we do, there's something new. Like this is probably new as of 6 months ago, and around the same time as this. And every time we have a little bit of spare time, Mike and I try to do improvements. It's just a way to fill the time on tour, do something that's productive, and make the space a little nicer. The bathrooms, you know, you don't have to see this, I guess, but we put a cabinet up here and trying to keep it relatively clean, but it's kind of tight and sort of an uninviting space. But my big idea for my bunks, this is usually where I sleep in here. My wife, when she comes out, she and my son sleep here, and my daughter and I sleep in this one. My big idea is to cut right here and have like a trap door so that the kids, especially as my son gets older, that both of the kids can like climb up and down. But I just haven't gotten to it yet, so that's, you know, maybe one day we'll be able to do that, make it sort of like a little playground, you know, but haven't done it yet. This is where our sound engineer, Mike Lane, sleeps. Jack sleeps here, Ricky down there, and our manager is in here. So
This is Michael Lane, the best sound tech there is. He takes care of everything around here. I mean, if it wasn't for Mike Lane, we would all have to work hard. Yeah, he makes our job easy.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to come check out the bus, probably from the exterior side of it, we're going to be on tour this summer with Pedro the Lion in August. Check out mewithoutYou.com, and we love to see you at the show. So have a good one. Thanks for being with us today.